What's going on? We back with the Boxing Clinic and more. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. Y'all know what it is. We back on the boxing grind one time for the one time. We talking about, the Mayweather effect and how is it that it still impacts boxing today, even after he been really gone from boxing, boxers, not MMA fighters. And shout out to Blood Boxing Returns one time for one time again. OG, LDBC OG for show. He was talking about this earlier, how these fighters' popularity are diminishing. He was looking at the Fight Hub interviews and a lot of Danny Garcia, Sean Porter interviews, and how they not getting the views that they once used to get. And yeah, by not fighting the best and protecting your O, that's turning off a lot of fight fans and casual fans, man. If you're not out there giving the effort and fighting the best in your division to start off with, then a lot of fans are not going to be checking for you, especially hardcore fans and especially the casual fans. You got to have a matchup that's mouth-watering, man. You got to fight somebody. Just think of that you is a household name in boxing like Danny Garcia think he is. He could just fight Raul Salker, Brandon Rios, and still do big numbers. Well, you're wrong. It takes two to tango, and especially for a guy like Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. And both of these guys trying to protect their O to wait for Keith Thurman, to wait for a WBC title shot that they just got, and they came up short. So why don't they think they have to prove themselves to get back a title shot? Because of it's like that, where they basically forced Keith Thurman to be stripped, which I don't have an issue with. I said if he didn't have a fight by June, he should be stripped. And somebody got mad at me, I don't give a shit. But that's how I was feeling, And for the simple fact of, he got stripped, and now they knew the title shot was gonna fall in their lap. That's why they wasn't trying to fight nobody. They was trying to hold out for it to be a title shot. At least Danny Garcia was. Sean Porter said he was about it. He didn't care if it was for a title or interim title or what it was. He wanted to fight Danny Garcia. He wanted that face time. But the point that I'm getting at here is Mayweather protecting that O and cherry picking his fights. It sent the wrong message to the youth or to the younger boxers. They thought that they had to manage their career and have a perfect match-made career like Floyd did as a champion and as a pay-per-view pool, just to have an opportunity to be a pay-per-view pool. But what they don't know is that don't work for everybody. You got to fight somebody and fight often to get that respect and build that ground base for your fans. You know what I'm saying? You can't get fans by fighting once or twice a year, and that's another thing. People see Floyd fight once or twice a year. They don't know that he protecting his limbs and his hands is bad. He only fight when he have to fight. As far as to protect his body and kind of stretch his career out over a span of time. Because obviously, physically, he should have been done if he continued to fight 3 or 4 times a year. So a lot of these guys are believing in the Floyd Memphis. I can fight once or twice a year, get a nice purse, do the Al Heyman thing, invest it. He be my financial advisor, and that's good. You don't build a fan base by fighting once or twice a year. No, you build a fan base by fighting like 3 or 4 times a year. So fans get familiar with you, just not fighting any old body else 3 or 4 times a year. Fighting good competition, fighting the other division's best. The division that the best division has to offer. If your division is seemed not to be as star-studded as 140 pounds for Terrence Crawford is, it don't really matter because people respected Terrence Crawford because he cleaned everybody out in that division. And he just so happened to move up and then names started to pop up and pull their head up out of hiding. The Mayweather effect is the lack of fighting on a regular basis and protecting the O. That's the Mayweather effect. And, does he know the impact that he had on boxing by doing that? I'm pretty sure he's aware of it. The game is stagnant right now. And then guys like Earl Spence that want to fight on a regular basis, guys like Golovkin that want to fight on a regular basis, they can't. Because guys scared to fight them. They want to fight 3 or 4 times a year against the best. But they don't have that opportunity because the other best don't want to fight them sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And that's sometimes what it is. More of Golovkin is more like, he trying to wait for Canelo and he don't really want to fight nobody else because everybody a danger for less money. So he at a different point in his career as far as he's 36, he trying to get as much money as he can. So at the end of the day, you gotta respect him trying to secure his future. Especially getting a late start in the A side of boxing in America. Excuse me, but yeah, a lot of fighters think they can just fight once or twice a year. And then they got to know. They can't be looking at their bank statements and thinking it's Floyd. Thinking they getting 20, 30, 50, $100 million checks and thinking, they looking at their checks and they won $2 million, $3 million at the most. And they contempt. They really think the Mayweather effect and the Mayweather blueprint is the way to become a superstar pay-per-view star. That's not it. You got to become a household name. You got to fight often. You got to fight the best. You got to be in memorable fights to get pay-per-view fights. Because a lot of times when people turn to pay-per-view stars, they don't have memorable pay-per-view fights for real. Usually the pay-per-view main event, it doesn't live up to the expectations. Let me know if I'm not telling the truth, man. Most of the times, a lot of pay-per-view classic fights out there. You pay $50, $60, $70, whatever area you come from. Most of the memorable fights come in these guys' career before they was pay-per-view stars. The Jose Luis Castillo, the Diego Corrales, and other fights like that. Some of those good, gritty fights. Marvin Hagler versus John the Beast Mugabe. Danny Garcia versus Lucas Matisse. He needed about 4 or 5 or 6 more of them type of fights to be put in that class of trying to almost be in the fringe pay-per-view star. The Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, those are the groundwork. And then we move up to 54 pounds, then you can think about, or you keep going in your career, then you can think about being a pay-per-view star. But you got to have memorable and classic fights to even be close to being a pay-per-view star. And that's what they don't know. At the end of the day, if it go, it go. You can avenge your loss always. That tells a lot about people. Did Sugar Ray Leonard career stop when he got his first L to Roberto Duran? No. He came back smarter, quicker, stronger, and more determined to get that L back and get that loss back. And when he got that loss back, he did it in the most demoralizing way. He made a motherfucker quit. Not through punishment, through mental and through his speed and agility and him being smart. These guys think if they take an L, it's over with. Danny Garcia took an L. He gotta have a testimony firsthand. It wasn't over with. People still want to see him fight versus Sean Porter. It wasn't over with for him. Mayweather definitely fucked this shit up with this Mayweather effect and this old shit and this, once or twice shit. And that's what's plaguing the boxing community bad. That's why a lot of these guys can't become stars. It's because, fighting once or twice a year. Nobody gonna remember you for fighting once or twice a year. You fight in January, then you come back and fight in November. That's too much of a gap. People need to see you as consistent as they can. As consistently they see these football players out here from August all the way to fucking February. They need to see fighters as consistent as that as well too. Not on the same basis, but they need to see them. If they not fighting, they need to be doing a reality show or doing interviews and keeping themselves relevant. You know what I'm saying? And everybody just ain't trying to be game and trying to fight somebody else. Oh, let it marinate. That's another part of the Mayweather effect. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Remember we did the video talking about how Danny Garcia, I think it was Eddie Segbeck, said, you see how Pacquiao and Mayweather revenue grew over the years? That's how I want to let the Earl Spence fight marinate so it become a bigger fight. Like, goddamn, fool, tomorrow not promised. And that type of jump up in money, even percentage-wise, ain't coming to you for an Earl Spence fight. These guys really got the game twisted, man. Really. And it's sad, though, man. And it's really, really sad that the guys, continue to think like that, man. And, the 3 points of the Mayweather effect. Protect your O. Let the fights marinate and only fight once or twice every blue moon. And those are, in no coincidence, those are the 3 things that's plaguing fighters and that's holding fighters back from being the stars and reaching their potential and their popularity status that they could be at. And even the guys that want to be more proactive and fight 3 or 4 times a year, like an Earl Spence or Gennady Golovkin, they can't because they don't have no dancing partners to fight 3 or 4 times a year. And the guys that they want to fight, it's not worth the risk, and the network don't even want to put that shit on. They want to see these guys versus Jamar Charlos, the Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, the Terrence Crawfords, the Danny Garcias, the Sean Porters, the Keith Thurmans. They want to see competition like that. Motherfuckers don't want to turn on the TV and see Golovkin versus Stevenson. Or really, people don't want to turn around and see Earl Spence versus Ocampo. They don't want to see that shit. People want to see real fights. Real competitive fights. Dogs versus dogs. They want to see trio versus trio. They don't want to see a dog versus a cat. They don't want to see an A or B level fighter versus C or D level fighter 2 times a year. You know what I'm saying? They want to see the creme de la creme of the creme de la creme. They want to see real fights. And what I'm saying, we want to see real fights. We want to see that trio fight. We don't want to see mismatches. We don't want to see fights that we know the outcome and just pray that it might have some pizzazz and some shocker to it. And that's why other networks don't fuck with boxing like that. That's why Spike shut that shit down. So CBS don't allow that shit. That's why Fox don't really be putting that shit on. The NBC got away from that shit. And to say something truthfully, they ain't got shit going on that's good either. I mean, I don't even watch them fucking shows on CBS no more. Motherfuckers don't watch 60 Minutes. That's you 80 years old or some shit like that. I mean, shit. I don't watch Empire. That's bullshit. I watch shit that's on NBC. Other than for football, come on Fox, NBC, and CBS. That's it. So they ain't got shit that's really popular going down on CBS and these regular networks. This ain't like, was it ABC, TGIF on ABC back in the day? We had a lot of good shows. Back in the day when Family Members, the Wayans Brothers, Deep Cover, what was it, NY Cover, Deep Cover, whatever it was like that. When they had really, really good TV shows on there to compete. Ain't no real good TV shows on no more. So it shouldn't be a problem putting boxing on Saturday nights or Tuesday nights or whenever. It shouldn't be an issue doing that. But when the best not fighting the best, don't nobody want to buy them fights. They'd rather put on them stale ass NIC, whatever, NYPD, whatever the shit they call it going on now. Law Enforcement PD, I don't know what this bullshit they got. How to Get Away with Murder, Empire, all this crap they got putting on. Nobody watching that shit no more. So a lot of people ain't, a lot of the networks ain't checking for that shit because boxing ain't putting on the best. And they get these fights and they get them and say, Ortiz and Alexander, I mean, what the fuck is this? Shit, they rather put the Weather Channel on or put the news on before they put boxing on now because they not giving premium fights. They selling it's going to be a good fight, but they end up don't being a good fight. It end up being a super, super lopsided fight. And knockout sell in important fights. Not you just knocking out any old bum as well, too. That's to be said as well, too. But y'all know what it is. It's TBC and more. We gone.